As you may know, I enjoy post-apocalyptic anything pretty much. My preferred way to destroy the world is with a nuclear bomb. Revert us to kind of like a primitive state where we're in a constant fight for survival. We've got these things that we take for granted each day, and it makes it so that they're kind of like a connection to the world in the future, to the world that we once knew, and it helps us kind of they obviously help us keep alive one more day. And then, of course, you add in mutants and robots and bandits and all this future technology. You get pretty much what I think is one of the best genres and to have many adventures with role-playing games. And so with that, we're going to take a look at the last of my Goblinoid Games trilogy videos and talk about Mutant Future. So it's a post-apocalyptic role-playing game that's compatible with Labyrinth Lord, so that's helpful. I've got a link in the description if you want to pick it up. There's also an art-free version that strangely actually has some art in it. It's just not exactly the same as this one, or have as much as the regular edition here has in it. The art's great, of course. It has a great OSR feel. As you can see, black and white. It's about 155 pages. And it's going to be, it's going to look very much like Labyrinth Lord, obviously. So here we have a gorilla double-barreled shotgun with a stop sign shield. Very cool. Try to get some more art here to show you. And so here they have all the different character races. And so you can play, the races that you can play are 3 different types of androids. You've got basic android, synthetic, and replicant. There is the mutant animal, the mutant human, the mutant plant, and the pure human. So each point of constitution gives you a die roll for hit points based off your class. So right here it says, and of course that's one thing that pure humans are really great at is surviving. They get a D8 per point of constitution. Of course, that's going to front load you with a bunch of hit points that can let you survive longer in this post-apocalyptic game. I think that's very helpful to go ahead and do that. Now, the difference between them and androids, though, these two in particular, the basic android and the synthetic, is that they have 50 hit points, and that's it. They don't get any more. It has a kind of a unique way of leveling up in which you're going to roll a D100, and you've got pretty much a 10% chance to get +1 damage, a 10% chance to get +1 attack per round, and an 80% chance of getting a +1 to an ability. And then you're going to roll here to see what ability goes up. Pure humans are very strong when it comes to hit points, as well as they get +3 to charisma, intelligence, and constitution. And the 2 type of androids, the synthetic and the basic one, they cannot get, they can only increase their intelligence, willpower, and charisma. Willpower is pretty much the wisdom that's in this game. So I enjoy that. I enjoy having those front-loaded hit points to whittle away your character. One thing about it is that the mutant animals here, they don't have a list of animals that you'd see in other games to choose from. So what you're going to have is you're going to have the player and the mutant lord, which is in essence the game master. They're going to have to work together on how to kind of best represent that animal they want to play. Of course, in a mutated form, you can look in the back where the bestiary is, where the monsters are, and they've got a lot of normal animals, and you can kind of surmise, but you're going to have to work with your mutant lord in order to come up with that animal, maybe what other type abilities it may have that are obviously normal with that type of animal. So some people would probably like a list. I would kind of like a list, but that's how the game does it. You're going to have to work a lot with your mutant lord. So there are, of course, there's rules for mental attacks. Very easy, in which you just use your willpower against their willpower to make certain checks in order to crush their mind or do whatever you need to do to their mind. There's rules for firearms. There's rules for radiation. And those are pretty much staples for most, post-apocalyptic role-playing games. There's a great section, as you can see here, on mutations, both beneficial and drawback, which those are not good for you. You don't want those, and I'll be talking more about that later. So here's physical mutation drawbacks, and as well as mental and ones for plants as well. And plants are always a great favorite of the post-apocalyptic genre if you've played like Gamma World and stuff like that, as well as the Mutant Epoch, of course. So it's got, your normal section here on, a lot of the sections are very much like Labyrinth Lord, where it comes to hiring people, gear, the combat section. There's a section there about mental attacks, all very normal. disease, food, different saving throws, poison. There's the radiation section. Adventures at sea. And then you've got a great, very large monster section. It gives you a gambit of normal animals and freaks of nature, pretty much. And you'll see a lot of those, obviously, in the art. Much like this Brain Lasher here, who is pretty much a kind of a favorite enemy of Mutant Future. We got some more here. And they're very creative. Lots of them are very creative. And I enjoy them a lot. I like looking at them, getting some cool ideas about them. And there's just a bunch of them. I mean, I was really impressed by how many there are. And of course, you can add any mutation. They show you what mutations that animal has, but you can always add more mutations, much like gigantism. You can add that to any normal animal, and now you've got a big version of that animal that probably wants to eat your face. So that's very cool. And we're going to continue going here. There's a great section again on technology and robots. Again, we're still in the monsters here. There's the encounter tables. So you've got a great section here on gizmos, grenades, armor, power sources, bombs, primitive weapons, firearms, advanced pistols, advanced rifles, and this is everything that should be in this game is in there. There is also a great section here on like robots, if you want to make robots and use those, like this guy. And there's a great section here called Mutant Lord Lore. And this pretty much is going to say, like, how did your game's post-apocalyptic setting happen? Be it nuclear war, plague, or whatever. It also highlights, like, structures of a ruined society, such as towns, law and order, and things like that. So it's just kind of like a basic overview of what might be happening in your world that you've created. Traps, stalking ruins, advice from mutant lords. Of course, that's very helpful. And there's also a sample scenario here, Mind of the Brain Lashers. Very helpful. Cool map here where you could set more adventures in it. And that's very cool. I like hex maps. And then here we've got Mutants and Mazes. So it's a bonus section that allows you to play Mutant Future with Labyrinth Lord. And you're going to be adjusting the game classes and mutations to slow the game down, obviously. And it's going to be more level focused, much the way that Labyrinth Lord is. As that game, is quite different in that sense. And so you'll have normal kind of hit points, hit dice, and you'll actually get mutations at different levels. And it classifies the different mutations based off class 1, 2, or 3, with 1 being the weakest and 3 being the strongest. And you're going to get those at certain levels. So in essence, your mutations may show up like level available 3 or 4, so you'll get energy ray can only be available once you hit level 4. So it would be cool to be able to roll up once you hit that level to see what new mutation you have, but obviously it's going to bring it down to more of the Labyrinth Lord scale. And honestly, that shows you kind of what the game is, a kind of a showcase of what the game offers that makes it, some of it's unique, obviously, but it's pretty staple. So you're getting pretty much, I would say, almost a generic post-apocalyptic game, just played with rules that you might already know with Labyrinth Lord. But there is some stuff we need to discuss. So it's a game where the Mutant Lord needs to take control and make decisions about many aspects of the game. Like most post-apocalyptic games, there's usually some sort of power level imbalance between mutants and other characters. It just seems to be a staple in the genre. And much like I said about the mutant animal abilities, the Mutant Lord is going to need to decide if a character should be able to play with certain powerful mutations. For a character, when another player's character, they rolled up quite different and possibly a weaker character. And this is just something that's native to post-apocalyptic games. A character might roll up they might roll up mostly drawbacks. And they do tell you that, you can always have them pick. So I think the Mutant Lord is going to have a firm hand of what is allowed and not allowed in their game. Certain mutations may need to be adjusted by the Mutant Lord in their use, and my advice is pretty much to work with your players on all those aspects. And it discusses that in the rules several times. So it's not exactly, I would say, a game that's just fresh for a new Mutant Lord to take over. They need to kind of have a little bit of knowledge of what they do and they don't want in the game. So ultimately, it's a complete game, and it's just an easy pickup to add to your collection, with or without owning Labyrinth Lord. Just make note that it's going to take some work on the Mutant Lord's part to make the game and setting just right for them and their players. So it's a fun game, easy to pick up, And but you're going to have to do some work, and that's how it is a lot of times with mutant type games, or when you've got these power imbalances. The androids can be quite strong as well. But easy rules, easy to play, pick up. I like how this guy's still got his tie on. This guy's got 2 heads, and he's got 2 hats of the same same type. That's pretty cool. These guys got 3 eyes, and this plant's trying to consume them, which is detrimental to them. So, yeah, it's a fun game, and hope you've enjoyed these Goblinoid Games videos. So, like always, please subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think about this game. And we've had a lot of great discussions about Labyrinth Lord on those 2 videos. And if you've played this or you got anything you want to say about it, I'd love to be able to talk to you about it. So, thanks for watching.